This video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 truths about extraterrestrials that will make you see the whole entire world in a new way, understanding more about who you really are. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of understanding the 3 truths about extraterrestrials that you may not be aware of, and understanding this also from a deeper level of consciousness in general. Now this is something, and this is a whole area of topic that I've been waiting to bring onto my channel for a while, because it is a bit more esoteric, and also because I had these blocks in my own mind that was like, I was almost just wanting to stay within my little law of attraction box of like how people saw me. But lately, maybe you've noticed some of the content on this channel has become a little bit more esoteric, and there's a good purpose behind it, because I believe that now is a time on the planet where more and more people are waking up, where now I can bring through this information. I can do it in a way and feel comfortable, because it is time for people to know more about who they are. It is time for people to understand that this doesn't have to be such a taboo and weird thing. Understand that right now as well, when I say extraterrestrial, if that makes you feel very uncomfortable, understand that that most likely is just social conditioning. We've been socially conditioned from a very young age to be afraid of this type of information, or to tag onto it a certain level of fear, or it may be limiting beliefs as well, or limiting beliefs. It may just be beliefs as well that kind of negate that this is something that's possible. Understand as well, sometimes people are religious, and what they do is they think that like ETs neglects or negates that of understanding like what they've been brought up to believe. It can be a this and that type thing. We can be divine spiritual beings living a temporary human experience, and extraterrestrials can also and are also divine beings living their own experience. And the thing is they're just a little bit more aware of it than us many times, because many times they're of a higher dimensional. They're more higher dimensional, which means that they perceive things in a higher light, because they're not necessarily bound by the 3D physical body. So they're more aware of that divineness that they are, and they're in a way in communication with us right now, and in a way here right now without us actually necessarily knowing it, because they're here reminding us that this is who you are. You are divine spiritual beings. You are here waking up to more of who you are. This is a process. So understand first off that you are multidimensional. Now multidimensional, what does that mean? It means that you are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience, and that you exist at many different levels at the same time. It's just that while you're alive right now on earth, you are only perceiving of that of your 3D physical ego body. And what happens is you're born into earth, and you go through life experience, and you forget who you really are. One of the purposes of coming here is so that you can remember who you are. You go through what is called a veil of forgetfulness. You, being an immortal spiritual being, we're like chilling in the higher dimensions, and then we're like, yo, I'm gonna go to Earth, because right now there's this transformation that's happening on the planet, and I want to be a part of it. And you said, okay, so you came here, but one of the things when you came here is that you had to forget who you are. So here you come, you forget you're an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience, and then you go through most likely a lot of pain, because when you go through pain, that leads a lot of people to a spiritual awakening. So a lot of people that watch my content are people that have been through a lot of pain, because then it led you to a spiritual awakening, and now you remember who you are, and now you got some guy on YouTube talking about extraterrestrials and how we're all connected to extraterrestrials. So that's kind of how the process works. But nonetheless, it may sound a little bit fearful right now, but it does get better, because you realize more and more that there's so much more to reality than you can think, and that you know. And what happens is you start to embody more and more of this energy. So understanding ETs is also understanding an aspect of us, because see, this is the thing. You're an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. Why would we only incarnate ever on one planet, on Earth? Think about how uncreative that is. You're just like, I'm going to live 1,020,000 lifetimes on one little planet, when you're this huge spiritual being. And this one planet, and I want to learn as much as I can. We're going to learn a lot of stuff, but here's the thing. You exist at many different levels, and on also many different planets at the same time, right now. That sounds like, how is that even possible? Well, it's just that right now our perception is here on Earth. However, there's this vastness, when you go to bed at night, you wake up to these higher levels and you perceive more of them, but then you come back in the morning and you forget this. This is something that as you start to open your mind to, you will experience more. You might say, how do you know this, Aaron? Can you show me proof on a piece of paper that this is real? Or can you logically measure this somehow? The idea is that you must experience it for yourself. Your beliefs create your reality, and when you let go of some of the filters of your beliefs, you perceive of more of it. So you will literally start to perceive more of this kind of information, and you will get more connection with these higher dimensional states as you begin to do that. So in totality, you exist at many different levels. There are many different ET races that we are all connected to, whether we're aware of it or not. It's just that if we don't believe we're connected to it, we won't perceive of it. But many of us have connections to a place called the Pleiades. There's Arcturus, there's Sirius, there are many more. Those are the most common ones that people will reflect upon, because a lot of these are also related to us in a way. They have a very deep, intimate connection with us. And it's about us recognizing this. So first off, know that you're an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. That while you're awake on earth, you may only remember that of you and what you're doing here as you identify with this 3D avatar body. However, what's happening now is you're becoming more and more aware of who you are, becoming more aware that you exist at many different levels at the same time. And let me tell you this too. These extraterrestrials, most of them that we would perceive of or connect to, are of a higher dimensional nature. Meaning, your natural state is actually feeling more unconditional love, bliss, and literally you are able to do what we would consider to be magic. However, we are just now becoming aware of that, and you are here right now, and we perceive of things in this agreed upon reality. And part of this agreed upon reality is that right now we experience what we're experiencing, and we're going through this awakening. So the first truth about extraterrestrials that will blow your mind is understanding that these extraterrestrials that we may or may not like or dislike, they are other versions of us. Now at the deepest level of consciousness, we could say everything's a reflection of the one of us. What you do to someone else, you do to another aspect of yourself. That's why we have karma. But there are different levels to it. These extraterrestrials that are coming here to help, and to help us wake up from this hypnosis that we've been under, because there's been a certain level of control on the planet. These extraterrestrial races are literally us, from the future or from the past. So they are higher dimensional beings. Many people that have those experiences where they may be outside hiking somewhere and they may see something, they may be actually seeing other aspect of their own soul, of their own spirit, because we're connected at many different levels. When you go to bed at night, you may perceive of these extraterrestrial connections. But guess what? They're also connected to you many times. Now, in general, this helps us understand that we can lessen and let go of the fear that's attributed to it, because they wouldn't be here to destroy us, because they are us. But you see, they're from a higher consciousness point of view, so they know that. But we see things from our point of view as where we currently are. So the idea is that when they look at us and they see where we are, it's like we're just now starting to wake up. We're starting to become aware of who we are, and we think of things in terms of where we currently are. So as a society, there may be people that would assume, oh, well, if they were to come, war. Well, why is that? Because some people have and are at that level of consciousness where they view it us against them. There's this separation, there's this label. I am me and you are extraterrestrial. So the idea, though, is understanding that we are all connected, and that not only that, we are immortal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences, but that these extraterrestrial races, many of them are us from the future. Now think about this idea. This might kind of blow your mind. This might kind of stretch you outside a little bit of maybe what's comfortable to think about. But from a higher dimensional point of view, you were chilling. What then happened is you heard a call. You heard a call that said Earth needs help. And you've had lifetimes on Earth before, long time ago, maybe Atlantis times. And you had this experience on Earth, and there was this call that was put out because there was this need for light workers and people and souls to come to Earth to help Earth Gaia awaken. You heard this call and you decided to come here. Now, you've evolved to a certain level to where you exist in what we would call the future. All time exists now, but we would call that the future. Could have been in the Pleiades, could have been in different realms of consciousness, and what you decided to do is you decided to come back in time, to come to this moment in time. Because now is the most highly charged time to ever be alive on the planet, because you have 7.5+ billion people waking up to who they are. Some faster than others, but nonetheless everyone waking up. And you decided, you knew it was going to be hard because you were going to incarnate into this planet and you were going to forget who you are. But you were up to the challenge. Because you knew, and out of compassion, you wanted to help. So you decided to come here. Now, you were born, you forgot who you are. You most likely had it to where you went through a certain level of pain so that you could go through a spiritual awakening and awaken to where now you watch and are into this type of content, which means that you're at the leading edge. Because in the future, 5, 10, 15 years, more and more people are going to be going through this. And as people go through this, they're going to look for somebody that understands what's going on. And that person may be you. Because they say, oh, this person understands this. And look how calm and collected they are when there's these things being brought up for people. So you came here. This is who you are. Now those extraterrestrial races from the future that we perceive of are actually connected to you. And you may be becoming more aware of this now. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Because they are you. They are you from a different level of consciousness. It's just that we like to separate. This is me, this is me, this is me. Instead, to be aware that they are you. So there's nothing to be afraid of. They wouldn't do anything bad to you because you are connected to them. They have your best interests at heart. So most of them, the ones that we feel connected to, are of a higher dimensional nature, and they are here assisting us right now. There is so much attention on the planet right now because of this transformation that's happening. We're literally coming out of this deep sleep as a society. And maybe you notice that content like this that I share on my channel even, it's becoming more and more relevant, more and more demand for it. And it's because now is the time of awakening. And more people are awakening to who they are. So the second truth that you must know about when it comes to extraterrestrials that will totally blow your mind is understanding what would happen if an extraterrestrial walked up to you right now. You say extraterrestrial, we could also call it higher dimensional being. Higher dimensional being, that once again you are connected to. Now this is the way, if you want more information on this, right, by the way, I recommend you check out Bashar and any book by Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon is a QHHT. She created or perfected the QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique, where it would get people to the deepest levels of brainwave activity to where then they could bring through their higher selves, and they could ask any question you want and the higher self would explain about the soul, why they incarnated at this time. And her books are transcripts of that, and through thousands and thousands of transcripts, people have said they're here right now on the planet because now is the time of transformation. Now is the time of waking up to who they are. And these people did not know each other, that were being, that were going through this hypnosis, and that were where she got the transcripts all over the world. Very consistent message. So to me, it's very powerful information. Bashar, same thing. You find a lot of information with Bashar, and it'll kind of explain this stuff a little bit more. But in general, when you look to this, what would happen if an extraterrestrial walked up to you? Well, you may say, why don't ETs walk up to us? Why don't they just come already? Just land. Let us know that you exist. Well, first off, it's controlled at a certain level because there is plenty of evidence that ETs existed. If you look to times of the planet with Egypt, if you look to Machu Picchu or the Nazca lines, there's many different things that point to this understanding. And it's just that the information is suppressed. Like Roswell, like many different things, it's suppressed. However, why don't they just land? This is what would happen if an extraterrestrial of a higher dimensional being, maybe 5th dimension above, walked up to us. Because they are of such a high vibration, which, remember, they're another aspect of you, so you don't have to oh, I'm so low vibe. No, we're going through this process of transformation. If a higher dimensional being walked up to you, they're of such a high vibration that as they were walking up to you, their energy field would influence you. Now, anything inside of you that wasn't integrated, maybe something that happened in your past, maybe some limiting belief, whatever it is, that wasn't already integrated, as this higher dimensional being walked up to you, it would bring all of that stuff to the surface for you to deal with right then, because that higher dimensional being, which may be connected to you, is so integrated and is such a high vibration that it would allow you and cause you to integrate everything within yourself immediately, just to be in their energy field. And as they walk up to you, you would then start to have to integrate all this stuff that hasn't been integrated, and you would then think it was them, making you feel fear, making you feel this lower vibrational energy, or causing you to feel this stuff that wasn't already processed. So the idea behind this is that we must first integrate ourselves before they can then come here. They are not holding themselves back from us. It is more so they are waiting for us to be on cue to be comfortable with them. So we say, why don't they land? This is the way they look at it. I'm not talking down on us as humans, but from their perspective, would you land or go somewhere where there were what would be considered people that are, in a way, forgot who they are and a little bit insane because they want to go at war with each other. They don't understand that they're all connected, so they're fighting each other, and they think that anything that isn't them is something that they should fight? Would you land in a war zone like that with people that are asleep in a deep sleep, or that would appear to be like almost insane to them? Now, I'm not saying we're judging ourselves. I'm just saying to them, it's like them going to an insane asylum with people with guns. That's how it would look to them. For a lot of people, not necessarily us or people that are already open to this information, but just in general. That's the idea. So the idea is that they're waiting for us. They're waiting for us to be on cue. They're waiting for us to integrate ourselves so that they can then resonate with us. Now, that blew my mind understanding that, because then I said, okay, this isn't about trying to change something out there where we get some evidence. It's about me changing within myself, because as I change in myself, that's when everything begins to change. Now, the third truth about extraterrestrials that will blow your mind is going to be a little bit of two things. First off, they are in awe of us. They are in awe of what we are going through, that we can go through this much of forgetting of who we are and then remember who we are. There are literally thousands and thousands of different extraterrestrial races that are watching our planet right now, because this is the thing. There have been times in the past when certain civilizations have ascended to a higher dimension. The Mayans, there'd be different civilizations that have done so. However, it's normally just one civilization on the planet that does it. And normally they then phase out of one reality and into a new one. However, on the planet right now, we are going in body into this higher dimensional state of consciousness within our own body. And doing it, we're not just doing it as a civilization, we're doing it as a whole entire planet. Now, some at quicker rates than others. But this has caused so much attention that there are so many different civilizations here, different extraterrestrials here watching us, because they want to know what happens. And they don't know exactly what will happen, but we do know that in general, we're all waking up more and more, and it's an amazing thing to watch. So they are in awe in observing us. Now, another little tidbit I'll throw out there, if you watch Bashar. Bashar has said for 15 years now, the highest probability of us making contact with ET races, and by this it doesn't mean that necessarily they land on the White House lawn like people thinks, because then gets into the politics of agenda and what people are ready for. However, in general, the highest probability window of us as a society or as a culture or whatever experiencing ET contact is between the years of 2025 to 2033. That is the highest probability time frame. Now, this could mean that at first, that window, there's just certain people that have that kind of contact. I imagine if you're open to it, you can then resonate with it, and if you want it, it'll be an option. Maybe I could go with some homies and we could go somewhere that's more secluded, and somehow we could have some type of conversation. And if I can, I'll put it on a YouTube channel, you know what I mean? But in general, 2025 to 2033 is the highest probability window of that happening according to Bashar. That resonates with me. But at a certain level, it doesn't mean, once again, that it's like it's on the news, because the media, that's a whole nother thing. But in that amount of time, I think a lot will change. So much will change. Because we're all becoming more and more awake. There's this spiritual renaissance that's happening right now. Also, on Gaia TV, there's a show called Cosmic Disclosure of whistleblowers. People that have been in programs that they have been around extraterrestrials. They've perceived of this stuff. There's a whole nother world happening than what we're aware of right now when we're trying to do our taxes and run around and get a 25-cent raise for our hourly job. There's so much more going around. However, become more aware of it. The more aware you become of it, the more you start to perceive of it. So in general, extraterrestrials are higher dimensional beings. Not all of them, but most of them. Especially the ones here right now, because the energy is so highly charged. They are other versions of you, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Many of them are. In your dream state, set the intention to connect with them. Many of them are heart-focused, especially Pleiadian is very heart-focused. What you can begin to do is to understand that the more you integrate yourself, the more you can then communicate with them. Right now on the planet, it's a time where you can communicate with them energetically versus just physically. But at nighttime, you may be waking up to these higher states, just not aware of it. And then understand that thirdly, they're in awe of us, and there's a highly probable window between 2025 to 2033, that being a charged time when we are able to make contact with them. However, it may be a little bit more secluded at first. Who knows exactly how it's going to happen? It resonates with me, and I am excited for this time on the planet, excited for this time of awakening, and really connecting to ourselves at a deeper level and going through this process. So let me know what you think of this kind of video. If you want, I'll do more videos like this. Maybe I'll talk about different types of races and different types of connections we have. Or you let me know. If you like more topics like this, I will do it. This is a little bit more esoteric concept. I get it. Another thing I have is a meditation. If you want to integrate yourself more, like the second one I was sharing with you, you want to integrate more within yourself and raise your vibration, one of the most powerful meditations I have is in the top of the description box below. It will help you to raise your vibration and raise your vibrational set point. Also, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram, so if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, you see it right there. You can follow me. Twice a day I post content, plus I do live Q&As almost every day. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like it if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the little notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.